Yeah, welcome, welcome, welcome. Hanging out with us on our end of the month webinar. Nobody yet,
Not yet.
but soon. So
they're coming in. They're
we don't have
filing
to
in.
we don't have to talk about anything until anybody shows up. Get the burp out. That was a good one. I don't want to burp in front of the 8 people.
No, I just lied. I didn't have the list pulled up. There's 14 people watching right now.
No. People are starting to ping in. Welcome to our little YouTube Webby, little webinar, little Clarity Web Webby.
We're gonna start in 4 minutes, but we can shoot the breeze. We decided that we were going to talk about YouTube channels.
That's right.
That we like to listen to in our free time.
That's right. So you go first. Go one though. Don't go more than we'll go one.
Okay. So one that I got my daughter into actually is the Mark Rober. He's a science guy. He does some fun things where he does little experiments and stuff. He does a glitter bomb around Christmas time where he literally hides, does like for the porch pirates that steal packages and has a glitter bomb and a fart spray, and it's hilariously funny. So I like watching him. I don't know if you've seen any of his videos.
I have not. My kid is younger than your kid, so mine is on Cocomelon. So that doesn't not count as one of the ones that I like. It just is very functional.
You mentioned it, so I now get to say my second.
No,
one.
The one I like that I'll say first is well, it's not it's not the one I rank number one, but I like it. Is Dude Perfect?
Okay.
Which is a silly one, but it's easy to put your brain aside for 8 to 22 minutes and watch them do silly trick shots. And on the other side of it, because obviously many of you know we like marketing quite a bit, seeing their journey from 2010 to now, from how they went as early YouTube adopters.
They're like the OG.
They are one of the most successful, where they literally came to the Amway arena to do their live show. Their YouTube constantly generates over $20 million a year. I am interested for both of those reasons. So what's another one you like?
Another one I was thinking about was Half is Interesting, I think is the name of it. It's one of those like kind of like fun little news ones. They always kind of come up. He puts one out like weekly or something. And it always shows up in my feed because I guess I always watch them. And they just have fun things like, why do we have a shortage of airline pilots? Or what is the southernmost city? It's not what you think, or something like that. And they're just always usually pretty entertaining. So I enjoy those because it's usually 8 to 10 minutes of mindlessness, and I feel educated, and it's a fact that maybe I'll use again in life.
Hey,
like now.
Exactly. You never know when you're going to use it. I'm also really enjoying Gary V's YouTube channel. Gary V being I guess what you'd call him a serial entrepreneur, but he is an agency owner of a large advertising agency. And he's got one specific sub-series that comes out once or twice monthly called Marketing for the Now.
Oh yeah, I like those.
We have both enjoyed that, where he's typically interviewing CEOs, CMOs. Now, of course, I bet they're all clients. If I were him, I would make sure they were clients. I just think it's a good idea, use of the platform. He was I think I'm attracted to this, like early YouTube adopters who really grew along with it.
He was the first like vlogger, right? The live streamer.
Well, no, he was like, there was a guy before him that did like
one
the
of
life.
the first. So or at least he did his business side of things. So
you want to hit one more channel that you like? Or I've got another one I like.
Yeah, you know what? I've started to learn the drums has been my thing. So I've been going in, and I've been watching a couple like kind of just rudimentary things, or watching. There's a guy, he puts out like a video every week as well about like him playing the drums to a song, and I'll try it. I failed horribly, but
I think that's awesome.
I felt like I did really well this weekend. He had a fun little video. I forgot which one it was, but I enjoyed it. It was fun. It again, another mindless
I can't
hobby.
wait for your drum recordings.
We're doing another webinar
with you drumming.
With me and
drum us in, drum us out. Yeah. Well, we were just sharing some of our favorite YouTube channels because, again, today's topic this month, we're going to talk about YouTube, and we're going to run through 10-15 minutes of little snippets that hopefully add value to what might be a journey that you're on when it comes to content. So we'll get right into it. And I think we're going to play back and forth on stuff. So I'll let you kick it off.
Yeah. So as always, you guys are always welcome to ask questions. Anything that you guys maybe feel like we don't cover enough, or you just want more info. If it's about YouTube, fantastic. If it's not about YouTube, ask away. We're here to answer. We usually talk for what, 10, 15 minutes, and then open it up for about 5 minutes at the end there for 5-10 minutes of questions. So anything you have, put them in. We're happy to
type
answer.
them in.
Yeah, type them in the chat or in the Q&A. We'll pull it up here at the end. So let's talk YouTube.
Yep.
Let's talk about things. So is it YouTube search engine?
Is YouTube a search engine? This is a great starting point. So yes, it is. Not only is it got a very powerful search engine, it gets more traffic to that search engine than some other ones that you might have heard of. Like sometimes Bing and Yahoo don't get as much volume as YouTube. So you're thinking, wait a minute, I look at the YouTube app and it's just videos. Well, the second you hit that little search bar, you're actually in their search algorithm ecosystem. Now, Google owns YouTube, but that is not the same algorithm. It is not serving the same results. So David, could you speak to why we care and why we would want anyone to care about what you're calling your videos, what you're using for description text, and then what you might be missing, which is tags?
Well, I think I pumped you up to have to say yes, that it's a search engine. Well, there's a search function and it serves you things, which means that there's optimization opportunities. There's ways that you can name your video. There's the tagging feature. There's things that you can do to help you rank, because anything that's maybe search engine-ish is rankable. So there's not a gamification of the system, but there's a way to appease the system and make yourself have better opportunities to rank, which include, you talked about keywords, right?
The three main factors when you're thinking about posting a video, or I want to be clear, going back to videos you already have and re-optimizing them, big value there. You might already have 20 videos up, but maybe they're not doing anything and you can actually go back to them. There are three main things we would want you to look at. We want you to look at the title of the video. We want you to make sure that it's engaging in a way that actually might have someone click on it. There's actually four things. I'm going to go to four. It's four. So you want to look at that title. It could be fairly long. There's not necessarily a limit to that, but you want to make sure it's got an engaging kind of hook to it. In the description text, so you've got the title, you've got the description text, put as much into that as you feasibly can. If again, you're doing it yourself and you have the opportunity to put a couple hundred words and links, do it. It's going to show up in search more regularly. If again, you have a marketing firm that works for you, tell them to do it if they're not already doing it. Make sure that description text has as much about the video as possible, because that helps that search algorithm find that video. The two last pieces are going to be the tagging function and having a really cool thumbnail. Now, thumbnail could sound intimidating, but there's software like Canva that you can use for $12 a month or free. They have a free version where you can make a really cool thumbnail. Videos with an engaging thumbnail that have high contrast colors, meaning like the background might be red, but the text is white to pop off, they perform better. There's literally data that they get more clicks and more views. So think about that. And then that final thing, the tags. David, tell them why tags are important. So it's actually hard to get to. So when you're rolling through posting a video, it's real easy to know the title and description text. You got to scroll down and hit a little drop down for the text.
And I don't think that's required as far as I remember. So you can go through without ever filling out a tag and it's going to let you do it. You just might miss out on opportunities. So Google gives a majority of its love to usually your first 2 or 3 tags. So whatever the topic is you want to put in there. Everything after that can and will be of assistance in terms of how YouTube uses those keywords for ranking. But again, if your topic is about YouTube, you're going to want probably your first keyword to be YouTube. Don't put that later on down on your list. It's just going to give you extra visibility. The other thing, just that you talked about, which is not only ranking it within YouTube, but because Google and YouTube are owned by the same company, YouTube also rank on Google too.
Yes, they do.
So there's plenty of opportunity to also help Google rank them. Taking the similar algorithm. Chances are if you rank well in YouTube, you'll also rank well in Google, which will just give you a secondary visibility of your videos.
Absolutely. And really, this is leaning into what's happening right now in marketing and in media. Video. You're seeing it, right?
What content should somebody post?
Oh, we want, okay, sure. So if you're wondering, what the heck should I post or what could I post? Let's say you've never put a video out before. One of the things that I think stops people is that intimidation factor of like, they don't know what to do. What you got to look at is whatever your business is, whether you do lawn maintenance, whether you're a mechanic, whether you're a lawyer, there are common questions that your clients typically ask you. Like literally, that's in every business. Doesn't matter whether you're a chiropractor or you sell dog food. It literally doesn't matter. There's always questions. A good starting point is answering the most common questions literally to a screen, because what you don't realize is people you don't know yet are going to get that answer from you, and you're building trust with them, let alone that you're telling the internet, meaning Google, YouTube, and linking that to your website, most likely, that we do this type of content now. We are in this space. You're getting that credibility where many of you have typed something into Google, you see products show up, there's videos right under it. They're doing that in search results to give really good information to people. So if you're struggling with, oh, well, I want to, but I don't know what to do, think about the questions your clients and customers ask you daily. That is where you start.
So you're saying is a good production value, right? You don't need fancy cuts and video overlays, anything like that.
Not to get started.
Right.
Is that important if you were have 1 million subscribers and you're trying to earn revenue from it? Maybe, yeah, maybe there's people that, again, really bring up the production value. But for small businesses, what's actually working more is just talking to that potential customer or client or adding value. So again, I'll just pull something out of thin air. If you're a dentist and you've got some pretty good information that you know about how to keep your teeth clean while you're not at the dentist, people tend to only go 2 times a year. That's really valuable. Showing people how to floss properly, showing people how much toothpaste to use, what types of toothpaste to use. You overthink or these things in your mind, like people wouldn't watch that. That's completely incorrect. It's the opposite. It's that everyone wants that kind of validation for the things that, yeah, they know. I know I'm supposed to brush my teeth. I know I'm supposed to floss, but that doesn't mean I'm not searching for better ways.
Right. And there's a demographic of people that also prefer maybe to watch or listen to something versus read something.
That's right.
Right. There's the how people take in, people read, people listen, or people have to touch, right? There's those 3 things. Again, the video thing is that other, the way people like to intake information by just only maybe writing your content, you're only hitting them the one way. You could hit them this way as well. And there's, what's the demographic that you mentioned that
the most important one, right?
Yeah.
So through marketing of the last 50 years, everybody typically tends to go after the 18 to 49 demographic, right? Why is that? Typically, they have the most to spend. Are there some people on the outsides of that you would go after? If you're doing kids products, obviously, yes. If you're doing financial products, sometimes it goes a little higher than 59, but that sweet spot. And something happened in 2021 that had never happened before. YouTube finally surpassed in total viewership what terrestrial regular television was doing. So where TV was the thing and still is for live sports only, they have lost all of that. And YouTube is in the live sports game now. So is Amazon, to the streaming, to YouTube, to Amazon, to these video platforms. So what used to be a really great way to potentially market locally, doing local ads on Sun Sports or doing local WFTV, those are really expensive and your eyeballs are going down. YouTube pre-roll ads or in the middle of video ads are a fraction of the cost and the eyeball counts are going up. So we want to encourage people to look at YouTube in a 2-pronged approach, how you could market organically, meaning putting out content, but there's also a whole paid ecosystem to make sure people see your stuff.
And me knowing the paid side of things, the ability is also to pinpoint the types of videos you want to get in front of. We are in a marketing company, and the world of YouTube knows that. So when I'm on mine, I get these things about marketing tutorials or marketing automation softwares and things that we should be using. And instead, again, if they put that ad on WFTV, they're probably not going to hit a lot of people that probably want or know their service. So the cool part is being able to drill down and pinpoint. And even in creating your organic, you begin to create your playlists and channels. Your channel could be about a topic and get visibility on that topic, right? It's like, it could be very niche in a good way.
Absolutely. And you can reach the people you want to reach, whereas old school marketing, whether it's billboard, radio, TV, you're casting a very wide net to hope to catch some people. And again, some of those things still work. I'm not trying to bash those things, but digital is gone so far past that where you can get very targeted with what you're doing with your marketing dollars. And that's just really, I think, influential for small business owners that don't have an unlimited budget. We're not all Geico here, where they can literally throw insurance money at the wall because that is what their model is. So when it comes down to it, video is going to matter for quite some time. I think we know that. The TV's been around a long time, right? The phones are all video optimized. One thing we want you guys to know is that even Instagram, while that's not owned by Google or YouTube, that's a Facebook product, they're switching to a video first platform. Whoa, 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 whoa. What are you saying? That used to be a photo app. Their CEO just last month publicly had to come out and say, we're pivoting. We're going all in on video. Why would the #1 photo sharing app in the world do that? Well, the writing is on the wall with TikTok and with YouTube Shorts. Instagram Reels is an attempt to it, but TikTok jumped over them and made everybody in the space really nervous. So I wanted to spend just a few minutes, our final few minutes before Q&A, on YouTube Shorts.
What is it?
It's so new that you might not have even heard of it. If you open up your YouTube app on your phone, and as long as you have the most updated one, you're going to see on the bottom bar a little Shorts button. It wasn't there last month. It was in beta. Some of you might have had it, but
I don't think it was there last week.
it might not have been there last week. They're pushing it. It is their response. YouTube Shorts is YouTube's response to Instagram Reels and TikTok, right? What they are feeling is, because they already had more views and more kind of creators than anyone else, that if we just incentivize short form, vertical format, like if you're with your phone, vertical format, the what's now called the profile or TikTok kind of format of content, if they were going to prioritize that, they could try to take market share from TikTok and Instagram. It's so new. What that means for potential small business owners is free organic reach. You've heard us talk about this before. TikTok has it, LinkedIn has it, and YouTube Shorts has it. The rest of the platforms don't anymore because they're saturated to a point where there is enough ad revenue coming in that ad revenue surpasses the actual demand for content on the platform. So that's why if you scroll Facebook, you're getting ads constantly. If you scroll Instagram, you're getting ads constantly. You scroll TikTok, you are not getting them constantly. You're getting them sometimes. You do LinkedIn sometimes. That means they're still going to serve your organic content. YouTube Shorts is so new that there's really not a bunch of ads on it yet because they haven't reformatted their ads correctly for the sizing yet. That's honest truth. Like YouTube was typically formatted for the old school kind of, if you're on your phone sideways, not profile. So YouTube Shorts is a really interesting opportunity because when a company as big as YouTube or Google goes in on something, they don't bail quickly. That doesn't mean they don't bail. Google Circles or whatever that was. We know they will bail if it fails hard enough. Google Glass, that didn't work out. But it's so early that what we would encourage anyone to do is try one. It's free. It's so easy. You open up the app, you do it, and you could record yourself answering one of those client questions. They give you a funny little button. You could put a sticker on it, make it pop. You're going to get free views. We've tested some of these already with some of our clients and our own stuff. We don't just talk about this stuff. We are always doing it as well, whether it's on private personal accounts, the clients that are paying us to do these things. It's not just that we know the data and then we're like regurgitating that to you. There's practice in it of like, well, here's a video that got 20,000 views. Here's one at 15,000. Here's a TikTok one that went to 2 million and what that looks like and how to make that happen and foster that. YouTube Shorts is so early that we can't commit to guaranteeing you huge ROI. We can tell you that this early, free eyeballs though.
Yeah, and when it comes to any of the social networks, Facebook had their Facebook Live. It's kind of, you do their things that these people want, and then you begin to have just extra visibility they give you that organic visibility because they want anybody on it. Now, you're right. It might not be here, a year from now. However, there's certain things that do die, but usually there is an adoption that again, you're going to have people. It's not like you're already on networks that already have things that are going on. They're people watching videos. They're going to see your shorts. The big question is going to be, are you going to do it next year only on YouTube Shorts, or is it going to be TikTok and Reels and all that? And one of them will live.
Oh, more than one will live. The marketplace is so large for social media, and that's it's beyond buzzword at this point. It is the way people digest content now. There are people that have left traditional web, don't use a traditional search, and they are just living in the social space. There's people that get their news from Twitter. That's okay if they're getting it from a source that they want, I suppose. That is what's happened. So we don't look at moments like that as like, well, that's going to be fleeting, because even though any one platform might be fleeting, it's the human behavior movement that we look at from a marketing perspective of saying, well, it may be that Twitter isn't the thing anymore, but something that goes right to your phone and no longer to your TV is going to be the thing. And to help small businesses get out in front of that, because again, it only gets harder on the platforms that are hyper-saturated like Facebook. So that's kind of our fullness of the things we wanted to talk about, at least. Of course, we can go into hours and hours on YouTube. And if any of you have, again, you could throw in the chat right now specific questions. I know we had one or two that already showed up, but if you have deeper questions or if it's specific to your business, please email, text us. We would love to talk to you about anything that relates to that, whether you're looking for strategies of what videos to do, doesn't even matter. So let's dive in, and anyone who has a question, you can chat it in there.
Yeah, I'll go first. Is YouTube a social network?
I would err on the side of yeah here. And here's why though. Here's why. You have a profile and you can engage directly with people from that profile. You don't have to make it you can make it a brand, but people can actually comment on your videos, and then you can have an open communication. Now it's public, so it's not about the DM. It's not about the private message here.
It's social.
It is, exactly.
Yeah.
So you see where I'm going with that.
Yeah.
There's a video you post, and then you can turn off comments, mind you, and then you're saying no thank you to that. But the second you allow that, you have invited what the core concept of social media is, that there is a discourse, there is communication back and forth between two or more individuals. The coolest part about these moments, this isn't just YouTube, all of them, the more engagement you get on any one video, post, whatever it is, the more that algorithm is going to serve it to other people. So the second you've found a topic, a question, that dentist who's showing people how to floss, or a lawn maintenance person who's showing someone the right way to prune a rose bush, for example, things that, again, people literally Google because they want to do it themselves. That the comments that come from that, and then the owner of that account responding back, sends that signal to the algorithm that I should serve this content more than a similar video with no comments. This is the same across social media.
It's right. It's like it performs the same way social media does.
That's right.
But it has the benefit of the search engine side, right?
That's right.
Which is why probably it's weird to talk about that's a search engine and a social network combined.
Exactly, because we would never want you to try to use Facebook's search functionality to find any information. Like if you are taking Google, YouTube, and Facebook, they all have a search bar. You're going to get very different things from Facebook than what you would get on Google and YouTube. Google and YouTube are really algorithmically geared toward getting you the best answer for the question. So again, if you're looking for how to plant roses, for example, you do that on Google, you're going to get some really nice blog posts with pictures. You do that on YouTube, you're going to get a video that your first 10 videos are going to have a lot of views, a lot of comments. Some of those are going to be verified accounts. You put that on Facebook, you're in the wild west of people selling roses, people that have opinions on roses. Those are not equivalent. And we wanted to create a distinction there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. I see another question out there. Let me schedule. So it's a question that's, again, more specific to the type of content, but I want to answer it in it's it's always going to be a yes. It doesn't matter whether, again, the topic is of, I don't want to say a sensitive subject, because it's not that it could be sensitive or not, but there's no issue or kind of like angle that can't be made or put in a positive sense. So again, I'll give an example. Let's say you have some guidance for parenting. TikTok, for example, blew up for parenting advice. There's a ton of it. It's also
parent talk.
Parent talk is a thing. Same on YouTube, though. There's a bunch of people helping other people, especially with in the special needs space, is a really great one where you see people rise and become, I'm honestly influential to other people.
Well, is it also too, a lot of times, the expertise that the person has that other people are looking towards as like somebody that's experienced this or somebody that has the knowledge to impact others and go,
That's right.
well, that's what I needed to know. Thanks for sharing that. Right. It might not, and their videos might not get thousands of views because it might be a very niche thing. Niche. But maybe it's that you touched or you were able to hit the 100 people that have, you know, those needs or those questions.
That well, we got another, again, a follow-up question on it. Again, it's a yes to help another person out there in the world with potentially, again, potty training for a neurodiverse child. That's something that, again, you might have expertise on, you do, that others might be in the early stages of their journey. And the coolest part of it is you being you, whether it's that content or someone different about their own content, is that difference maker where two things happen. You get random people that are going to find that from those keywords. And then of course you're able to literally share that video with individuals and say, hey, I put this together because I felt like there wasn't something answering it the way I would. Obviously, from the marketing point of view, we'll tell you that it can live in a couple ways. If you have a great idea for a video that maybe it's the top 5 potty training tips, for example, for neurodiverse kids, that's probably also an excellent blog post, right? And then you can embed the YouTube video on the blog post. You're going to, again, send the signals to the search engines that this is a cohesive kind of thought that I've got here. These are the ways that you can build consistent. I'm not saying viral on purpose. We didn't use that phrase because the game isn't going viral. The game is adding value because you change a few people's perspective on something or educate, they tell other people. It is brand building at its core. And that is what video, that's what some of this kind of stuff can do for you. That go ahead. Sorry.
Well, it's another channel that allows you to get in front of other people that, again, maybe right now you don't show up as well, maybe on search, or maybe you do show up well. And how do you reach other people that are in just other areas, other spots, other places, and how they're going to take in their content? Maybe it's easier for them to watch the video than it is to read text because of the time that they're spending with their kid. It's hard to do that. And maybe the kid wants to hear it. Maybe it's helpful to hear it from somebody else. Right?
Absolutely.
So yeah.
Well, that's social proof, right? Don't we all like a little validation that way where it's like, okay, I know I might need help with this. I'm not going to lie. I've gone to TikTok and YouTube for parenting stuff. I've also looked at books. Okay. I'm a new parent. My kid's 1.5. There's things that happen where you're like, okay, he fell, this thing is growing. I need to Google, how do I have to go to the doctor? He bumped his head. Like these are literally the real life applications that I think most of us as, again, small business owners take for granted and think, no, nobody's going to be interested in what you should put on YouTube, for example. But it's just about getting it out there. It's just about doing that and letting it live, letting it breathe its life on the engine, support it as much as you have time for, whether that's sharing it out or building a blog post on your website about it. Or again, if you do have a marketing partner, this would be a part of that collaborative communication that you'd want to have, and build out a content calendar, because content is what we're dealing with right now. Social media, what it did, it exacerbated the content war, if you will. There already was one going on between the other search engines. Social media came in and showed the world at this point that we all want to be watching and listening and reading something.
Well, and so one more question, I think it goes really well with that, is how long does a YouTube video last out there?
Well, okay, so
because you talk about time of content, so yes. I think that's the perfect segue.
A YouTube video exist in perpetuity of YouTube. But this is a key that I think you were leading me, and I love you for that, into the almost the type of content that you really want to hone in on, what we call evergreen content. Evergreen content is the same principle in blog that it is in a video. Evergreen content means something like the tree that won't lose its leaves over time. So I'll give an example just because we're all living through COVID, right? If you're putting out content that's specific to COVID, that's not bad. There's nothing wrong with that, but that probably won't have as long of a life as, for example, the question we answered, potty training for neurodiverse children. Those core principles literally will matter for anyone that has a child.
Day after day, month after month,
year after year. That'll never stop mattering. Whereas certain things that might be hot information now could get you value today and could help brand build. But think about if you have limited time, finite kind of resources from time perspective, the more you can put into subject matter that lives forever, the better, right? The more you could show people those best practices or answer those questions that are kind of forever questions that you get. If you do insurance and people are asking about not necessarily a specific type of insurance, but core concepts about the industry, you could put that out there and that's going to age very well. Whereas if you're talking about legislation from 2021 specifically, that video might pop really great this year,
right,
and literally never get watched in 2023. And that's okay. That's not necessarily a bad thing. But if you, again, are looking at what to do, if you're framing that content around it being as evergreen as possible, meaning the most relevant for as long as possible, that video is going to live on YouTube and get new views, mind you, in perpetuity. We have the receipts to show on videos that are about AV companies, the settlements for workers' comp. I mean, some of our ridiculous ones about new things that spend time on the platform and perform better in month 10 than in month 1.
Yeah. It's that's where it's more on the search engine side than it is on the social media, because what Facebook, it's alive for a few days, Twitter, it's alive for a few minutes.
Right.
And on the good news is what you create on YouTube can live for
forever,
many years.
And they have a really good, I'll end here, they have a really great shareable opportunity. So YouTube built into YouTube, and again, it's free. Once you're in as a channel and you're on a video, you hit that share button, it's going to allow you to easily share it elsewhere, whether that's your site and embedding the video, which is the way to do it, because then you're using their server, not your own, or other social profiles. YouTube just being backed the way they are by the biggest player in the game, Google, these are good things, right? When you're putting content on platforms that are as established as the ones we've been talking about, you're investing in your business. You're investing in whatever, or it's personal stuff. You're investing in the momentum you want behind that, whether it's your hobby or not, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, passion,
yeah,
whatever it might be. People see that. The drummer I follow that I started off the thing with, he's passionate about drums. I don't know what he does in real life. Maybe he's a drummer, but he entertains me every week with some drumming. Which
is awesome because you become a fan of it at that point. You hit that subscribe button, he gets another subscriber. Maybe you've commented, maybe not yet, maybe you will, who knows? I'm one that goes in and I do comment. I'm that guy, right? Not everyone does that, but that's, I think, because that was the last question for this one. So that's YouTube in a nutshell, right? The short version. There's obviously a deeper journey we could take on that. We are super open door if you even just want to talk. It does not have to become a billable thing. You just want to talk about potentially a strategy or what might work. Those are the kind of things that get us hyped up. So thank you guys so much for joining in. We'll be back next month with another one. If you want to check out our YouTube, again, not meant to go viral, but there's other videos. These other webinars are up there just because we believe that people should be able to access this stuff. So that's really where this kind of core belief comes from. So thank you guys so much, and we'll see you next month.